Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com bringing you another episode of KGQandA. We are answering your questions sent into that email address right there. So get your questions in now and you might see them answered on this video series. Now again, I said might because I can't do them all, but I'm going to try. So here we go. Before I get to the first question, I got to do something that I don't often do on this channel because usually it ends up coming back to bite me in the butt for one reason or another, and that is a shout out. I need to do a shout out because I came across a channel this morning. It was sent to me by somebody on Facebook, and I was just completely overwhelmed this morning when I came across this channel. It is an aquarium centered channel, obviously, and it is a female hosted channel with some incredible editing, a whole lot of enthusiasm, and a whole lot of fun. Now it's a small channel, just started up. I think there's 6 or 7 videos on there, but the reason why I was so overwhelmed with this channel and it was so impressive to me was because the female host is about 12 years old. I watched a few of the videos trying to find out how old she is, and I don't know, so I hope I'm not insulting her, but she's like 12, maybe 11, maybe 13, I don't know, but she is young. And the level of enthusiasm that she has and the amount of time that she puts into these videos is impressive to me. I can't even get my 3 teenage daughters, well, one's 12 and the other 2 are teenagers, I can't even get them to get out of bed. I can't get them to say hello in the morning. And this girl is spending hours and hours editing videos and putting out some really cool content. I was so impressed, I had to shout her out. The channel, her name is Hannah Banana. That's what she calls herself. I'm going to put the link down below. Her channel is Hannah Binkowitz, but she goes by Hannah Banana. Folks, go over there and take a look at this channel. Show this channel some love. She deserves it. She is putting in a ton of work, and it's just impressive to me that somebody that age will put in the kind of time. I know how much time goes into these. And for somebody that age to have that level of enthusiasm just blows my mind. So good for you, Hannah. Keep it up. You're a superstar in the making, and I can't wait to see your future videos. So go over there, subscribe to her channel. She needs the support, and she deserves it because she's putting a ton of time into this. So, all right, here I go with the clapping. Let's get into the questions. 6 of them today. First one's from Clyde. Quarantine tanks is the question. What do you think about quarantine tanks or even hospital tanks? I have a 180-gallon tank and a 55-gallon juvenile tank. Should I also have a quarantine tank where new fish can go and settle in before they get introduced to the big tank? So far, I've been lucky with the fish I buy from you and have not had to treat the tank. Quarantine tanks are a good thing. I mean, I don't do it because, you know, but it's one of those things where when you're in this and you're a hobbyist, which you are, and you're spending good money to buy these fish and you're bringing them home and these are pets in your home, there's no way to be too safe. I mean, you can go as far as you want with quarantining fish. I don't think it is absolutely critical. I don't think it's absolutely necessary if you're buying these fish from somebody that you can trust, like me. But you can't go too far. You can't go overboard when it comes to implementing procedures that protect your fish. So if you believe that a quarantine tank for new fish is something that you need, go for it. A hospital tank? Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get into the African cichlid hobby and you're going to set up your first tank, you should be setting up 2 tanks. Every African cichlid keeper should have a hospital tank. Enough said. I'm not even going to go into any more details. So thank you, Clyde, for that. I'm going to have to continue wiping myself, my head, because I just shaved last night and it's really shiny coming off of the light. Doug H. John, when placing a heater, most say to put it in a corner so that it's out of sight and easily hidden. Does that affect how it heats the tank at all? What are your thoughts on heater placement? I use an inline heater for my cichlid tank and I have the heater in my community tank near the center of the back, so I'm curious on how effective having the heater in a corner is. Bottom line, Doug, is you wouldn't want your heater sitting in a stagnant area. You would want your heater sitting in an area where there's plenty of water flow so that the heated water is transferred all throughout the tank. So putting it in the corner is fine, but if you want to make sure that you have water movement in that area. Now, most of us African cichlid keepers, we try to keep good movement in every part of the tank. So it shouldn't be a problem, and it's definitely not a problem for you with your inline heater. But again, you want it to be in an area where water's circulating really well so that it spreads that heated water out throughout the tank. So people hiding them, I mean, if you're hiding it behind a rock and it's sitting back there in stagnant water, you're going to have a big patch of water that's warmer than the rest because the water's not moving through that area to circulate the heated water. So, you know, you don't want to have it out in the middle of your tank because that would look ugly, but you might not want to hide it too good. Does that make sense? Keep it in an area where the water can flow around it and move things around so that everybody's warm, not just the ones that hang out in the corner. Ryan, John, what's up, man? Got a personal question and maybe a good idea for a Q&A series. Can established filter media, substrate, etc., carry or harbor harmful parasites or diseases? Just upgraded to an 80-gallon tank and was hesitant to add any established media and substrate because something went in and I lost a couple of my fish with my other tank. Hope everything's going good, and once I get this new tank cycled, I'm going to be placing an order with you again. I didn't read any personal questions in there. I think you forgot that part, Ryan. I get excited when I see that. People want to know about me. You're absolutely right. I mean, you are running the risk of transferring, if there is something bad in your existing tank, into the next one. So your concern is certainly valid. If your tank is clean and the fish that are in it are healthy and everything is copacetic, then it shouldn't be a problem. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if there's a problem in your tank and you move substrate over or filter media or whatever over to the new tank, you're absolutely running the risk of taking whatever that bad thing is and moving it over to there. So you're really the only one that can answer this question because you know whether your existing tank is healthy or not. I would think if there was something in it that was going to be harmful to your new tank, that you would know because there'd be problems with your fish. So if everything's okay and your fish are happy and healthy and your tank is healthy, then you shouldn't have any problems. I don't think that there's something evil hiding underneath your substrate that's going to be unleashed in your new tank. I don't think it's going to work that way. I think you'll be fine. But if you've been having problems, scratch that off as far as your techniques for cycling your new tank. Leave it alone. But if everything's good, then you're good. Do it. Amanda Anderson, I know you've talked previously about how you do not believe in killing fish just because they are hybrids. I completely agree. I am currently raising my first batch of fry now. The problem is that I just realized that the mama is holding again. Oh, I've been there. I'm starting to believe these fish are worse than rabbits. You have no idea. Let me get through this question. I don't have an interest in selling or breeding fish, but I don't want to just kill them either. So my question is, what do I do with all these babies? Is it cruel to let the mother just spit in the tank and see how their chances go? I value and respect your opinion, so please tell me what you would do in my shoes. Thank you for valuing and respecting my opinion. Look, African cichlids breeding is something that's well known in the hobby, and everybody knows that if there are males and females together, it's gonna happen. It's part of the deal. What I always tell people that are maybe new to Africans is breeding is gonna happen. I mean, unless you come in here and you spend a ton of money, please, on buying expensive males, you're probably gonna end up with some females in your tank, and when that happens, there will be breeding. And when there's breeding, there will be hybrids, blah, blah, blah. So I say to them, you really have two options. One, raise the fry, do something with them, or two, let nature take its course, which would be the scenario you laid out there. Cruel and unusual? Not necessarily. You just let nature take its course and see what happens. Let the female spit the eggs, or spit the fry in the tank. She's gonna do her best to spit them out in an area where she believes them to be safe. But more than likely, the majority of those fry are going to get eaten by the other fish. Is it cruel to do it that way? I don't know, you're giving them a chance. I mean, you know, only the strong will survive. I don't necessarily think that it's cruel to do it that way, because again, if this was in the wild, they'd be dealing with the same thing, and maybe the fish wouldn't be so on top of each other, but that's what they have to deal with in the wild, so you can't really call it cruel and unusual. I definitely would rather see you do it that way than to just flush them down the toilet. I mean, at least you're giving them a chance, and that's what I like. So if you don't want to be overrun and you don't want to get rid of all your fish because this is becoming such a problem, just let them spit in the tank and see what happens. And what you'll probably find is that one or two from each batch will make it. They'll find the right hiding spot, and you'll never see them. And then out of nowhere, you'll look at your tank one day and hey, there's an 1.5 inch long fish in there. Where'd that come from? That's the little baby that's been hiding for 6 months. So, you know, give it a shot and see what happens. I think that that's the best approach, rather than sticking them in the freezer or flushing them down the toilet, you know. Now, I'm going straight to this question because it's kind of along the same lines. It's kind of the opposite of that question. Hello, John and Lisa. Little Chuck, been a while. I've talked about Little Chuck in other videos, so you know who I'm talking about here. John, I know you discouraged the practice of feeding live fish because of the disease in feeders out there. As you know, I have lots of fish. He does. He bought them all here. Like this guy a lot. Someone is always holding eggs. I strip the females for health reasons, and I always have a ton of hybrid fry. What do you think of feeding them to my peacocks and haps and imbunas? They should be disease-free, and quite frankly, I am overrun with ugly hybrid fry. Shame on you for calling them ugly. They have feelings too, Chuck. Jeez. And he puts another part on here that he doesn't want me to read on the video. Okay. That's not quite as friendly a scenario as the scenario that we just talked about in the previous email. But yeah, I mean, you can do it. They will definitely get eaten. I've mentioned in a past video that whenever we had fry that had defects, we would throw them into our Venustus tank, and they would barely hit the water. They're gone. And then you just forget all about them and you move on. You could be doing that too, and it's fine. I mean, you know, I don't have an answer for every single scenario where people have fry. In a perfect world, you'd have 20 tanks and you could raise all of these fry and everything would be great, but we all can't do that. So, you know, you have a lot of fish that you deem to be undesirable. You might as well let them serve a purpose and be food for your peacocks and haps. I mean, it's sad, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. Again, I guess because it's feeding other life, it's better than flushing them down the toilet or doing what people call the humane way of freezing them. You know, I mean, I guess again, the argument can still be made that you're at least giving them a chance, because you might have one of those little kids that are strong and like, you ain't gonna eat me, and he finds a little spot. That could be a lot of fun. I don't know. I mean, you know, again, it's better than just killing them. At least they have a chance. They might be able to outrun the big haps and peacocks. I don't know. So there you go. I hope that helps. Chuck. All right. Ethan. Hey, John, I have a couple of questions. First, are you okay? I'm fine. Thank you. I'm sweaty. I mean, I'm trying to keep the shine off of my head. Second, I bought 3 female German red peacocks and 1 male and 1 male. The females are swimming at the top of the tank, and the male goes crazy doing his dance thing when the one has spawned with him comes down. My question is, can I make the females go down lower to spawn with them? I have a 40-gallon. Please get back ASAP. I am buying 2 females from you soon. That is a sentence that should never be sent to KGQandA. Please get back to me ASAP, because, I mean, you know that I can't. So if it was an emergency, send it to my other email address. But anyway, let's get on with the question. I'm just busting your chops a little bit. The reason why the females are hanging out at the top of the tank, and the reason why I'm sitting right here, is because this tank behind me was a good example of that. Yellow blaze we have in there. There's 2 males and a whole bunch of females. And the females are always hanging out up top. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're basically submitting to the males. The males are pushing them up to the corners, and that's where they're hanging out so that they don't get completely harassed by the males. Is there a way that you can get them to go down? No, you can't. You know, you can push them and they'll go down for a second, but basically what's happening in there is the male has taken charge. He has taken dominance of the tank, and he is telling the females, that's where you can go, and you hang out there until I'm ready for you. I know it sounds barbaric, but that's what happens. That's what they're doing. And so the females are basically submitting to him, and they're going up there in the corners and hanging out until he's ready. So is it sad to see that? Yeah, it's kind of like a battered woman. It's sad to see, but it's the way it happens. I mean, there's not really any kind of solution for it. But the interesting thing is, you take that male out of there, they'll immediately go back down because they're like, woohoo, we're free. We don't have anybody bossing us around anymore. So there isn't really a whole lot of solutions for that. Your question was, can I get them to go back down? No, unless you take the male out, because you can get them to go back down, but as soon as that male sees what's going on, he's going to push them all right back up top again, and that's where they're going to stay. So unfortunately, in a breeding tank, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Maybe the only thing to do would be to get them a massive tank where they have plenty of room to move around. But right now, in a 40-gallon tank, they don't really have anywhere to go, so they're going up top so that they're safe. So hope that answers all of y'all's questions. This was a lot of fun, a sweaty version of KGQandA, but it was a lot of fun. I appreciate everyone that sent in these questions, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a long one. Sorry to be running my mouth so long, but I had fun with this video. So, you know, I had to just keep on going and going and going. So thank you all so much for watching. Hey, the other channel's up and live. If you haven't checked it out yet, KG Woodworks, capital K, capital G, Woodworks, 2 words. You'll find it over there. Putting some great stuff up on that channel. Go over there, give it some love for me, please. I appreciate it. Young channel, just starting out. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.